welcome to beautiful Polperro in Cornwall. Come down here for a couple of days with Bex and some friends to enjoy my birthday, which was Friday, Sunday today. But I thought this would be a good spot to talk about the goals that I set myself and go through how I think I've done with them. So to my mind, I've kind of done well with 2 of them, really badly with 2 of them, and then 4 of them I've actually done okay, but there's room for improvement. So the first one that I did badly on was the breath hold thing. I've planned to work on my apnea breath hold to get to over 2 minutes and 23. Now I haven't actually checked whether I can do that or not. And for the first sort of 3 or 4 weeks I was able to kind of keep that training up, but it tailed off after a bit. I think mainly because I enjoy doing it first thing in the morning. Actually, first thing in the morning I need to get up and crack on. So it is something I'd still like to focus on, but I did enjoy the mindfulness elements of doing that training because it is a very mindful thing to do. The other thing was the bike riding. I was supposed to do 4 hours or 100k a week, depending on whether it was on the turbo or on my actual bike, and I failed miserably with these. I think the most I did was an hour and 15, hour and 20 one week. None of it outside. I just can't bring myself, much like the treadmill video I made, I can't bring myself to kind of go out on the bike at the minute, even though the weather's pretty decent, and I would love to have bought my bike and ridden down here. It's a stunning part of the world. But yeah, it didn't happen at all, and the turbo's broken as well, so the main unit of that needs to go back to Garmin and be replaced on the Vortex, so that's packed in just as I got my treadmill. Looking forward to doing a brick session and then that packed in. So I think it's mainly time, isn't it? The bike just takes up so much time, and I think I sort of burnt myself out with bike riding in the summer for obvious reasons. So the ones that I did okay on, when I say okay, I mean I checked in on some of these, you know, a couple of times a week, but it wasn't consistent. That was eating 5 fruit and veg a day. That's improved quite a lot. I've become really conscious about what I'm eating and just making sure I get salad in and vegetables in the food that I'm eating. So that's sort of okay, but I'm not quite certain that I'm getting 5 a day. Losing a kilo a week, if I'm honest, I haven't actually weighed myself. I'm pretty sure I haven't lost 6 kilos though. Maybe a couple of kilos have gone. I will weigh myself and I'll put in the description below where I've got to, but yeah, that's not been the best of things. But again, I've definitely lost some weight. The 20-minute run sessions, now I put these in the sort of average thing because the plan was between the first week and the last week to get to the point where I go from running twice a week up to 7 times a week in the last week. Now I haven't done the 7 runs a week this last week, but I have run a lot actually. I've really enjoyed my running. The treadmill's helped a little bit in the last week or so, but I was running at least 3 times a week, and now I'm starting to feel a little bit like I can do something a little bit more focused on the training. So even though the volume isn't there, the consistency has been. I have run every single week for the last 6 weeks, and it's been 3 runs a week. So 20 minutes, not very long, but that's really changed the mindset in my head. But it just wasn't the volume I had planned, but it's certainly the consistency that I'd planned. And then the 2 that I nailed, I absolutely nailed on these. 3 that I nailed really. One was swimming twice a week. The swimming's really come on hugely. I was at the front of lane 1 6 weeks ago, and in this last week on the Monday, I led lane 3. And my sort of average swim times have come down from like 150 to sort of just over 140, sort of swimming 142s per 100. So, you know, if we're doing 10 by 100s or something, they're around about 142, 145. So not doing too badly with the swimming, and I'm certainly enjoying it. And one of the reasons why that's definitely worked has been because of the consistency of the fact that each week it's a squad swim at a specific time, and I book on it and I turn up and I do that. And that's one thing I've definitely learned from this process, is that having that sort of commitment, that accountability, has certainly made a big difference. The other one that I've nailed until Friday was being sober. I haven't touched a drop of alcohol for 6 weeks. Feel amazing for it. So as a result of that, and having had a few drinks the last couple of days, and it having impacted my sleep and things like that, I'm going to go back to not drinking until we have a party at ours on the 18th of December. So I'm gonna knock that on the head for 4 weeks or something. I think that's the way to do it. Is, for me at least for now, is to not just drink as and when I want to, but actually have specific dates in the diary when I sort of do decide, okay, that's when I'm going to have a drink, and I can do that, and that's absolutely fine. Now, the one that sort of floats in between success and kind of average success is the sleep thing. I'll put some screenshots on up here, but the sleep thing's been a bit peculiar because it started off really well, and I was getting 7 hours sleep average over the night, and then it started to tail off recently. The last couple of weeks it sort of dropped from 7 hours sleep down to like 6.5 hours, 6 hours and 20 minutes or something, and I kind of think I need to look into why that is. Whether I took my eye off the ball and we've been going to bed a little bit later is definitely part of it, but also I think sort of waking up early is still a problem. So that's something that started off really well anyway, and has kind of tailed off a little bit. But I have learned a few things by doing this little process of having 8 goals. So the whole idea of these 8 goals wasn't to nail all 8 of the goals. It was to get me back in the mindset of training, and it's that point where you wake up in the morning and you think, oh, I'm going to go for a run, I'm going to ride, whatever it might be. And just try and move myself on from this kind of rut that I got myself into, which was not eating healthily, not doing anything training wise, not doing anything sort of positive and healthy. It was just, you know, I was drinking too much, I was eating too much crap, I wasn't doing any exercise whatsoever. And I think off the back of what I'd done in the summer, you know, 4 to 6 hours of bike riding every single day for, you know, well, for really 6 months, I think I felt like I'd warranted, you know, a bit of time off, and I think that's fair. But then there comes a point, doesn't there, where you have to say to yourself, right, enough is enough. You've had that time off, and that's what these last 6 weeks has been really, just retraining my brain. Like Ian said to me in the comments on one of the videos that I put out, it's that idea of just turning up. Just now I wake up in the morning and it's like, right, what have I got to do today? Is it a run day? Is it a swim day? Is it both? Should I get on the turbo? You know, and that's sort of one of the things that I've lost, was this kind of like just the initial spark of thinking that's what I'm doing today. I'm doing some training, or I've got to get my meals ready to take to work, some salad and stuff like that. So that's really achieved its goal in terms of just getting me to that point of thinking that way again. And I'm really pleased that that's happened. The 8 goals that I'd set, I never dreamed that I would hit them all. But that wasn't the purpose of the goals in a way. Maybe goal is the wrong word. They were kind of targets for each week to just check in on. You know, oh yeah, 5 fruit and veg. I need to make my food tomorrow. You know, I need to grab an apple. Normally sort of like grabbing fruit is not kind of in my head. So I grab a piece of fruit, make a couple of wraps with salad or whatever. And that's really done its job. Certainly with the running and swimming. And it's just a case of getting the bike riding back into that mindset once the turbo's fixed and I get that back from Garmin. It will be all systems go really. So fingers crossed this is kind of you know, a starting point. I always say to my students that the first deadline you need to set is when you're going to start something. I think we always think of deadlines as being at the end of a project. And even though this is the end of these 6 weeks of goals, I think what I need to now do is look at what I've learned from that in terms of what worked and what didn't. That idea of accountability with the swimming, being more planned and routine. I ate better, I slept better, I trained better when I had it all planned in my head. Things started to slip a bit when I didn't think about what I was doing tomorrow or the day after or the day after. So I think it really is a case of on a Sunday when I'm writing my training plans to do my own sort of week schedule. And I've been doing that in my office, writing down on a whiteboard, you know, what days I've got tutorials, what days I've got stuff that I need to do where I have to go into Bristol and teach or do something like that, and then fitting everything around it. And that's the plan. But as for now, I'm going to head back to the house and get a coffee and get ready for the trip home back to Bristol. Hopefully the traffic won't be too bad. It's only a couple of hours for us down the coast to get to here. But yeah, it's been a lovely weekend of relaxing and laughing and eating and drinking good food, but back to the habits now of running and swimming and riding my bike and eating well, because that's the plan. Got a big ride coming up in the summer next year that I'm going to have to be fitter and lighter, and I'm very much excited about that, and I'm really looking forward to it. But it's going to be a hard hard 3 days of riding. Anyway, that is it for now from Polperro, and I will see you in the next video.